Hey everybody, it's JL again. Um, and today, kind of as I mentioned in my last video, I am going to at least do a partial playthrough of a four-player game. Except I'm gonna sit out of this, and we're just going to let the four bots that I currently have go against each other, and we can see what it looks like. So, pardon kind of the messy table here. I just kind of picked up from an autosave and got it ready from there, but you should be able to make sense of it. So again, we're gonna go with four bots, and I've just kind of alternated between the newest ones and the original two that I showed last year. So we're gonna start here with the blue player, which will be our player one for this session, which is the oops, one sec here. Is the what we'll call them the support bot, or the bot running the support protocol, which is the one that's designed to help um, you know as many players as possible, or you know. And then second up is the one running the thief protocol, the thief bot, and this is a kind of a greedy one that will um, try to steal contracts out. So it's going to really like the ones that are on their last requirement. It'll try to swoop in um, and complete it and steal it. Then we have the Prosper protocol, or the Prosper bot. That's the one that will try to score as high as it can, even if it's not actually completing contracts. And then finally, we have the haste bot, and this one is, as you can see, its default protocol is to try to get a three of the same faction victory, um, and it's really going to try to win as quickly as possible. I'll go over the other parts of the cards, as we're playing and as I'm thinking through. But let me go ahead and shuffle this, and I'll go ahead and get my six. And then we'll see if it make sure that it has at least one of each, which this doesn't. So we shall. Hmm. Let's see if we find an orange. It's hard, and well, that's quite interesting because you saw that I actually did shuffle. There we go. Okay. Interesting. And we're just gonna flip this whole thing, and then I'm gonna shuffle it again. Okay, so here we are. So our starting for four players, six, contracts out, repeating green. So let's go ahead and look at. Well, we'll go ahead and roll first for support bot. Now, support bot, it's wanting to target the contract with the fewest completed tasks, as you obviously at this point, that's everything, so it's all equal. Um, Also, its fallback target the contract with the fewest of its own locked tasks. It doesn't have that. So we're going to look at the very bottom at the three colors, and we see that in order of preference, it's going to go to purple first. So let's see, we rolled a wild, 2 extra dice and 2 shields, and we're going to go to purple. So look at this one here and see what we're going to go. So we'll always claim the bonus with the most hazard. So that's when we pull bonus tokens. It's always going to take hazard on itself, and it will risk busting if it has enough dice in its pool. So looking at what we have, let's go ahead and start this way. It wanting to help, it's going to go ahead and commit these two. And I'm going to put it down here to show that I've gotten it, but I haven't permanently locked it in. We're going to get 2 more dice. I could have used that wild for, maybe made that a little better, but And now it's going to go ahead and commit these 3. I believe that was a burst. Let's assume. Maybe I missaw that. I thought I had 3 burst symbols, but I do have this wild. So let's go with that. It's going to be the same anyway. So we're saying 3 bursts here. It is going to go ahead and say it completed this requirement, and it's going to take on some bonus tokens, and it doesn't matter, they're both the same, so it will take that. Obviously with the bots we don't need to hide what, well, I guess we wouldn't hide anyway. I could have just had them flipped out. It's not like we needed them face down. We got an extra die, so let's go ahead and do that. It can begin committing here, and it will. I'll put it above, and then now let's see what its override ability is. Convert 3 faces with different symbols to a wild to use immediately. So it could technically do this, which would, give it a, this to put, well, actually more a wild to put over here, but it would use up its remaining dice. So it has technically busted. So we will take all 3 of the cubes back. Okay. So that was support bot's turn. It tried to be helpful. It really wasn't, except for the taking on that hazard for us. That was kind of helpful, I guess. So next we have Thief Bot. It will always attempt to steal a contract if possible. There's no contract that it can steal, and otherwise its fallback is it will play to the same crew member or place as the last player. So in this case, we were playing to Avari, so Thiefbot will come in and say, hey, I'll take a little bit of that. And let's see what it's going to commit to. So Thiefbot says it will commit to the highest prestige task. So it's going to come over here, and the highest of what it can commit to is this zap here. So we're going to go ahead and say it's targeting that requirement. And we get 3 extra dice. It can do that. All right, that was a zap there. So it has committed here. And it says it stops rolling after completing a task. So it's going to stop. Okay. Next up is Prosper. Very similarly to Thief, after completing a task, um, it will also stop. So it's kind of risk averse in some way too. I guess my mind, Thief bot, it gets in, steals a little something, and then gets out. It doesn't want to get caught, so that's why it's gonna avoid busting. But let's see what Prosper bot does. I'm gonna at least roll this because that was a weird face. Okay. So Prosper says it wants to evenly place tasks across all contracts. It doesn't have any right now, so that's not gonna trigger. The fallback says target the contract with most of its own locked tasks. It's not gonna do that. So let's look at its color preference. Orange is where it's gonna go first. So here's so Tantan, and it says it will also commit to the highest prestige task. So we see that there is similarities between Prosper bot and Thief bot. So let's look and see if they feel different from each other, even though these secondary kind of order of operations is actually the same for both of them. So in this case, as I said, we're going to Janice. He's going to go highest prestige task, which is this one here. And as with Thief bot, as soon as it can lock something in, it's going to stop. So we're going to stop rolling. Finally, we're going to go to Haste bot. Again. Okay. So Haste says it's going to try to achieve a 3 of the same victory, same faction victory. There's nothing that's going to help it do that. It's going to play to the contract with the fewest open requirements. So right now that would be between purple and orange. And if we look at its colors between purple and orange, it's going to go purple. So if I read that right, with the fewest open requirements. Okay. So we're going to look here. What can it do? It can play and dedicate this shield here. And so it's going to go ahead and take on this one. Going to get an extra die. And we're going to continue on. It gets this wild, so it has successfully completed. But let's continue looking at what HasteBot says. Okay, lowest prestige task, which, given what we initially had, it was that, which was a 2, okay. It will risk busting if the dice pool is large enough, which is very much the same like what support protocol said. So let's continue on then. It's going to observe that. Going to get this. Now, since there's no instructions for how it treats the bonus tokens, I'm only going to pull one, and that's what its choice will be. Unlike support bot, where it says it wants to take on hazard, so therefore we're going to pull the 2, and then in this case, if support bot had pulled this with say a 1 point that doesn't have any hazard, it would opt to take on the 5 for itself because of those 2 hazard symbols. But haste bot was unlucky, so you know it had to take it on. Now it's going to continue. Actually, excuse me for a sec. Grab the wrong color. Okay. Okay, let's see what its ability says. If it rolls 2 wild, generate an extra wild to lock for the next roll. Okay, that didn't happen. That would have been helpful. Oh, well, actually, it can continue. So we're going to see if it's going to make it. There's a good chance. And it did. So haste bot is running on. So it gets another bonus token. Okay, cool. So that's its bonus right now. And now let's go ahead and score. So we see that haste bot has move these up to say that it has locked those in. Has 4 and 7, so it's gonna go up to 7. Thief will get a 3, but haste bot, of course, will get the crewmate. Now, I mentioned this in my previous videos, but in case this is your first one, unlike well, the whole goal with the bots is that you should feel like you're playing against other players. There's one exception, however, as you see, each bot has this override at the bottom, which is its own special ability. And in my mind, in terms of the lore, that these very intelligent AIs believe that their what they're capable of is far superior to anything that any crewmate could give them. So the bots will never use a crew member's ability. So looking at, the cards to see like what Avari gives you or what Dana gives you is irrelevant to the bots because these inferior beings couldn't help them in any possible way. So when playing with the bots, you actually ignore any crew members that you enlist. Ignore their abilities and only look at the bot's abilities. So let's see what we are going to replace this card with. Oops, excuse me. Okay, cool. And we will now go back to support. Okay, so support bot, let's look at it again. Target the contract with the fewest completed tasks. So it's definitely not going to look at Tantan because it does have one of the requirements or tasks completed. So it wants to help out with some of these others. And a few of its own, so that's not a consideration. So let's look at the colors. Purple, we don't have a purple, it will go green. So in this case, we'll start here with this top left. I don't have this right now on the bots, but as the final kind of fallback, I'm going to basically create a way that they will kind of scroll or cycle through the cards in play. They're the crew members to choose as the last resort. So it could be something as simple as, starting with this top left and going, clockwise until you find one that meets your program. Or you know, going counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, depending on how you want to say it. You know, up, over, down. You know, some sort of pattern that it will trace through, kind of a path, as the final resort to find which card it plays. But as is, for the most part, you'll always know where to play to, and then right now you just kind of are using, you know, your discretion. So let's see. It's gonna go green. I said we're just gonna go this top left. It wants to okay, with the most hazard. So in my thinking, a support bot wanting to be helpful, since it does have this wild, it can go ahead and commit 2 to that 4. And it is looking at the hazard that it can take on as the basis for why it's going to go there. So we're going to look and see. We're going to get our 3rd plus an extra. Very nice. Awesome. Here's our 4th. So we're going to go ahead and just, again, I'll place it below so that way if I bust, I'm not trying to, short-term memory, remember which ones I should take off or keep on. It's really not a problem, but, I just like to play it safe that way. So let's look at the bonus tiles here. Doesn't matter, it's just going to take considered the same. And I believe it will risk busting, so it's going to continue because it can definitely complete something with these dice. Well then, the only thing it can work on is this here. But we're going to get 2 more. Let's see what happens. Going to get an extra die because it will commit these 2 where I am causing these dice to flip somehow. But it's going to use those 2, and it's going to satisfy this, and it's going to continue. Now let's look and see. Convert 3 die faces with different symbols. It does not have that, so it will bust. Okay. Let's go and look at Thief. So Thief again says to steal. It can't steal anything, so it will play to the same crew member or place as the last player. So support was playing to Redacted, so Thiefbot's gonna look at Redacted. And it says it wants the highest prestige, which in this case is that 4. So it's gonna commit this here. Gonna get the 2 extra, but it's going to try for the 4. There. Let me see, what is its ability? Will convert 2 of the extra dice to a wild. So it's actually going to go ahead and do that. We're going to say 3. And we're going to continue rolling. So close. I almost had it. Okay. Well, unfortunately, Thiefbot, you did not make it. Let's go look at Prosper. Prosper says evenly across, so it's going to avoid the orange with most of its target contract with the most of its own locked tasks. We don't need that because we can fulfill elsewhere. So orange, then yellow. So let's go yellow. And it says it wants to commit to the highest. And there is this. So it's going to go here. And it gets an extra. It completes. I know that fell over, but we all saw what it was. And I think it says it stops rolling after locking first task. So it's going to go ahead and lock that in. And it's going to take a hazard token. Or a bonus, excuse me. Okay, well, get 5. And next we go over to Haste Bot. So let's look, because Haste Bot might want to make this a very quick game. And so it wants to achieve a 3 of a kind. We'll play with the fewest open requirements. We're looking at these two here. It does favor yellow over orange, so it's actually going to play here and commit to the lowest prestige task that it can. At this point, it's this here. It doesn't really care for that, but it wants to win. Also, let me look at its ability just so I don't forget. If it rolls 2 wild, it will generate an extra wild to lock for the next roll. Very powerful ability. But again, it's trying to be quick about things. Let's see what happens. So it's our okay. It's got this. What does it say? We'll risk busting if the dice pool is large enough. Okay. Well, the only thing it can do is this. Gonna get an extra die. Wow. It got those. Gonna go ahead and take a bonus token. Now its dice pool is only 1. The lowest requirement is a 2. So it's impossible for it to meet it, so it will stop. And it will lock these 2 in. Sorry for my silliness right there. Okay. Interesting. Wild. Okay, cool. We're going to go back to Support Bot. Support Bot, once again, target contract with the fewest completed tasks. So that would go with the fewest completed, so that's these here, excuse me. Contract with fewest of own tasks, okay, that's not a thing. So it will go green. Once again, it's going to head over to redacted. And I think in line with it wanting to take on a hazard, it's going to commit to that right here. We have two more. Going to take on an extra die. Gonna get an extra die, but it does complete it. It says it will risk busting, but again, it's already, see what's here. Okay. It hasn't been so helpful in terms of hazard. I feel like our other over here have taken way more hazard. That's okay. And it's going to continue with its 3 since it can. It's going to get an extra. Now let's see if it says anything. Or risk by da 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 da. We're gonna go and shoot for this here in order to do the most good. With 3 different symbols. So nope, that doesn't help. If we were a Prosper bot, we could have converted that to a wild and been fine, but how it goes. Let's look at Thiefbot. Now Thiefbot, primary directive is to attempt to steal a contract if possible. Right here, we have a contract it can steal. So it's shooting for that. So it's going to go ahead and commit here. And we'll convert 2 of the extra dice to a wild. Do we have that? Yes, we do. So it's going to burn that one, convert this to a wild, and it will use that. And now Thiefbot has come in and stolen this. So now let's look at our points. Thiefbot here gets 4, so we're at 3, so you're now at 7. I'll move you down in a second since I'm gonna have to move anyway. So this is 6, so you're at 7. 6 is 13. And you are at 4. And again, since powers don't matter, it doesn't matter how we stack it. It's just yeah, that's just how it's gonna go. We'll play another round or two. I think this is kind of an interesting game. Playing out quite differently than a lot of my some of the others. So here, just doing a little cleanup. So let's wait. Ooh. That was Thiefbot, wasn't it? Who came in and stole. So actually these should be over here. with prosper. So, oh yes, let's look and see what we are replacing with. Okay, cool. Prosper bot, evenly, so it's not going to go here. With most of its own locked tasks, it's going to avoid, ignore that, because if there were one on each, or somehow one on each, but then there was two, it would go to where, but right now, it has plenty of other choices. Looking at its color preference, though, it's going to look at back up here at carry, and this is what it rolled. Let's see what it says. At the highest prestige, which it can do. So we're going to go here like this with these two. Wow. Convert 3 faces with the same symbol. And unfortunately, in this case, if it were support bot, it would have worked. Just 3 different symbols. Oh well. You didn't make it. So now we're going to go back over to haste. And let's see where haste is going to go. So haste bot, 3 of the same faction victory, which in this case is going to be orange. Okay, because it already has an orange. It has a purple, but there is no purple. We'll play to the contract with the fewest open requirements. So it's going to play here. Orange. Since orange is one of its colors with the fewest open requirements. And it's going to go for the lowest prestige task. Okay, so it's going to start with this one right here. Okay, let's go with the 4 dice. Roll you. Oh. That's horrible. Okay, I'm gonna cheat for it. It was an actual face there. It wasn't like we saw 2 faces. So let's have it commit up. Okay, this is. I believe that was that. But we are going to commit here. Please let me know if I accidentally put a zap where I thought I had a thruster. My own silliness. Doesn't matter. I've got it anyway. Okay. It even got an extra die. Cool. Looking at its ability, if it rolls 2 wilds, generate an extra wild to lock for the next roll. I need to remember that. Very powerful. The next thing it can go up. Actually, the only thing left is here. And let's see what it gets. Oh, it got it. Yes. Well. And it will take on hazard, and it will lock the 3 that it did, despite my inability to, grab the card that I'm looking for. So we're gonna go ahead and get a little more hazard for it. Wow. It's just taking on all the hazard. That's crazy. And so since it got this, let's see. Prosperbot is going to get 4 points. We'll bring it up to 8. And Hastebot will get another 5. So it's going to go up to 18. Okay. And, I think since I'm at the start of the round, we're going to go last round just to kind of see. Hopefully by now you're getting a sense of how the bots are playing, and hopefully, again, they feel different to each other. So let's see. Maybe in this round we're actually pretty close. Someone could trigger end of game. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's go support bot. Support bot once again. The fewest completed contracts. That's pretty much everything right now. It'll start with green. It's going to look at redacted again. And it will attempt to take on this hazard, as it is wont to do. Die. Okay, let's keep going. Three, 4. Oh, we got that. Gonna take on. Okay. There you go. It's gonna put this back. And it will continue since it can as 3. Let's see what it can do. Six of one, half a dozen of another. We'll just go with the thrusters for now. But it does get an extra die. It gets that. No, it doesn't. It needs one more, excuse me. Okay, let's see if it can do it. Nope. Again, it busts. Portbot is having a hard time in this play. Previous game, I think it did fairly well. Certainly got on the board. Can't say so much this time around, but that's how the dice work. Okay, so let's look at Thiefbot. Thief, we cannot steal anything, so that's not going to help it. Thiefbot did steal something though, didn't it? I feel like I must have given it over to the wrong bot. And that this should be over here because Thiefbot. Yeah. Prosper hasn't won anything. Sorry. Let me know what I did there. Okay. So let's look again. Play to the same crew member, so it's going to go over to redacted. And what can it do? It can do highest prestige. Really doesn't matter because it's all the same. So we'll commit to thrusters. Stops rolling after completing a task. So we're done. Now let's go and see. What ProsperBot does. So Prosper wants to evenly distribute its cubes, so no worry there. So orange, we're gonna go over here. It commits to the highest prestige task, so we're gonna go to here. Since that shows two faces, I'm going to re-roll. Read the same symbol. Okay. Okay. Ooh, it's going to lock this in, and it will stop, as it says, stops after locking first task. As you see, some of the language between the cards, it's different, even though abilities are the same, and that's just really a result of the amount of time between when I designed the Thief and Haste bots versus Prosper and Support, which were the second round. So I will go through and just kind of standardize and make sure that if there are any of these protocols that play the same, that they have the same wording, so there's no, confusion. Okay, last turn of this play. Let's just see what happens. What HasteBot will do. Haste wants through the same faction. We're not going to get that right now. Play with the fewest open requirements. Well, in this case, this is going to be orange. Oh, actually, no. Excuse me. It can win right now. So let's see what happens. And it will start with the lowest one, which is this here. And it will go ahead and take this hazard, or take this bonus, which of course will give it some hazard. And then let's continue on. Let's see what happens. I need two wilds, extra wild to lock. Okay, cool. So the next highest up is, I'm gonna go with the zap. Gonna go ahead and play that and get an extra die. Okay, cool. And it will bust. Oh well. I was hoping for a very cool finish there. So at any rate, here is where we stand. Let's say that somehow it had won, and this was the final tally. Obviously, looking at bonus points, Haste Bot would have forfeited all of its bonus points, which would have interestingly allowed Prosper to go up 5, so it's currently at 8, so it would have been at 13. But then let's look at Support Bot. It actually would have gone to 10. So, just for sake of demonstration, that is a potential way that a point spread that it could have been. And there we go. That's just a partial playthrough of a game, 4-player game, but with those players being all bots. So again, I hope you got a sense that they seem to play like real opponents. These aren't just you know weird each turn somehow add to its score some way. Um, and basically you are trying to chase a high score as a real player. The goal is that you feel like you're actually playing against another opponent, and hopefully with the 4 bots, even though there were a couple that had aspects that were nearly the same, that they felt that they played somewhat differently. In fact, let's look at this again. Commits to the highest task, stops rolling after locking. And here, so Thief ended at 7, and Prosper ended at 13. So even playing with those aspects being similar, obviously luck of the dice, is a factor. Um, one almost nearly doubled the other. So, hopefully that's some indication that even with similar abilities or similar rule sets, that the bots will actually play differently. So there we go for that. I think the next video I will put up will showcase 2 more bots that I've already kind of have a basic idea for. And after that, I think we'll start going through rounds of revisions of some of these bots to kind of tweak a few things that I feel might need tweaking, possibly even adding that final pathing kind of rule so that we never really get to a point where we have to guess, as with, say, Support Bot, where I kept saying, well, I believe it would keep going to redacted. It would actually have something that would have it path through to find which one it would actually have landed on in those cases. So it's just another small, I guess, revision that's going to happen soon. I hope you're enjoying these. I hope it's making you excited for a solo mode for Moonrollers. You know, please comments, questions, do that on the video. I'm also active, or at least lurking, in the Moonrollers channel on Discord, so feel free to pipe in there. Or on the BGG page, there is a one of the in the variant forum area. There is a post where we're talking about the solo mode, so you could comment there. Thank you very much, and I hope to post the next video very soon.